Hi, sixth graders. Today we're going to take a look at lesson 27, solving percent problems. It's actually very similar to what you did yesterday. But today we're going to take a look at when there's another number involved. Because yesterday we did like 40% of 60. Well, now we're coming up with what that is. So let's take a look. It says that we want you to be able to find out that the percent of a quantity, and given a part and the percent, you'll be able to involve finding the whole. So we'll see what that means as we go along. So we are on page 297. So go ahead and open your books to that page. Again, 297. And example 1 says, solve the following 3 problems. Write the word percent, whole, or part under each problem to show which piece you were solving for. So on the first one, how could we solve for this? Well, if we knew that our 60% out of 100, and we know that we need to get to 300, how do we get from 100 to 300? Times 3, good. And therefore, 60 times 3 is awesome, 180. So 60% of 300 is 180. Let's go to the second one. The second one says 60% of something is 300. So in this one, we have 60%, so 60 out of 100. So notice this is my part to my whole. And then on the second side, we have our number we need to find. So this is 60% is part of this. And so our 300 is now on the top because we want to know what that big number is down here. So how do I get from 60 to 300? I multiply by 5, and therefore 100 times 5 is 500. And then in the last one, 60 out of 300. So totally different. Okay, so we have 60 out of 300, and it wants to know what percent that is. Do you see that? So we put that percent. Remember that in order to find a percent, we have to have our 100 on the bottom. So how do I get from 300 to 100? Awesome. Divide by 3 up top. 60 divided by 3 is 20. So there's our 3 answers. Now on the line down below, we wanted to know what was this number that I solved for. So when I look at 180, how does it compare to the other 2? Is it a percent of a number? Is it the whole thing? Or is it part of the whole thing? Well, it can't be the whole thing when it's a smaller number. It's going to have to be the largest number if you have the whole thing. So looking at this, I can tell that 180 is not larger than 300. So it definitely has to be a part of it. Okay, so that one's the part. And looking at this second one, well, 60% of some gigantic number of 500, right? So we have part of the whole thing. So in this one, it is the whole. Please make sure we put a W on our word whole. It is totally different than an HOLE, which is a hole in the ground. It seems like I see that a lot, that people are writing whole, and we're really not digging it right now. We're saying that we have all of it. And then the last part of it, it says 60 out of that 300 is, and then we are actually already underlined that. We wanted that percent. So we know that in this case, we want to know what the percent is. So again, we are finding the part here in the first one. We were finding the whole thing in the second one, and then the percentage in the third. I'm going to go ahead and scroll this up a little bit so I can look at the question down below. And that question said, how did your solving method differ? What changed? Okay, well, each time you're hunting for something different, so the numerator or the denominator changed. So depending on what I was solving for, comma, my numerator, and where's the numerator found? Yeah, on the top, right? Our top number. Our numerator and denominator, and therefore denominator, remember, is down. All right. Big things that we want to look at when we're looking at a problem, we want to really make sure that we see these clue words of or out of. Okay. Of is a very big clue word. It lets you know which piece of the information is the whole amount compared to the part. So if you look at that first example, 60% of 300 tells us that we are looking for part of the 300. Okay, we're looking for the part of the 300. Therefore, the 300 was the whole. In the second one, it said 60% of 500 is 300. So 300 is the part and 500 is the whole because it was of 500. In the third one, we had 60 out of 300. So we knew 60 was the part and 300 again was the whole. So it gives us that clue of where to find things. All right, so let's take a look at the next example. Yep, that's it, right? Yep. All right. In this exercise, it says we're going to use models such as 10 by 10 grids, ratio tables, tape diagrams, double number lines, and we're going to solve this situations below. It says Pyra is doing her back to school shopping. Calculate all of the missing values in the table below, rounding to the nearest penny, and calculate the total amount she will spend on her outfit after she receives the indicated discounts. So how are we going to set some of these up? That's what we're looking for, okay? So if we have, let's look right here. We're going to take a look at her shirt, and we see $44, and we know that is the total amount, correct? So that's our total. And out of this percentage right up here, we are going to need a fraction because a fraction is going to be way easier to deal with. So let's go ahead and we want to say, what is 25% of 44? Okay, so 25 over 100. I'm going to actually erase this right this second because I don't need that. 25 over 100. Now, I'm going to reduce that right away because it is going to be so much easier to work with. Okay, so I know 25 over 100 is the same thing as 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to use 1/4. And I know that it is 1/4. And our total, oops, there's where my 44 goes, guys. My total right here is the 44. So 1 out of 4, here's my total for my percentage, and here's my total for the cost. We need to find out what number goes up here. How do I get from 44 or 4 to 44? Yeah, I multiply by 11, got bigger. So I multiply the top by 11 and I get $11. Now, the discount we just found is $11. Please make sure that you put that $ before the number. I don't know where along the line some of you, especially my 7th graders, are putting that $ afterwards. There's no such thing. I think it's from years ago when you guys used to write like 1 cent with a little cent sign after it, but we don't even do that. We use decimal like this, right? So make sure that we put that $ in front. Okay, the next one is our pants. The pants are 30% off, okay? So we know that 30% is what fraction? I'm going to erase this while I'm thinking of it, guys, so I have a little more room. We're probably going to have to start writing a little smaller. 30% over 100. There's my percent. And of course, I can reduce if I would like to. Let's not reduce and let's see how it goes and see if we need to right away. Okay. Now, since they're giving us the discount, is that the part or the whole? That's the part, right? Because we know the original price has got to be the whole thing. So we're hunting for the whole. So we know that sale price or that discount goes up top. And this time, because I didn't reduce, I think it's probably easier this time. How do you get from 30 to 15? Divided by 2. So you need to do 100 divided by 2. And you get 50. So the original price up here would have been 50. If you would have reduced that right away, you would have had 3 over 10 because you would have canceled one of those. And then you would have had 15. And you would have had to say, how do I get from 3 to 15? And you would say times 5. And 10 to times 5 is 50. So either way works. Okay, let's take a look at the shoes. We have our percent discount is 15%. So think of how we write that. 15 out of 100. Again, if we want to reduce, we could reduce. Do you want to? Sure. Let's go ahead and reduce. 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 5 goes into 100 20 times because there are 20 nickels. So we have 3/20. And is this $9? It's the discount. So is that the part or the whole? It's the part. So that goes on top. Our whole is what we're hunting for. How do we get from 3 to 9? Times 3. How do we get from 20 to our whole? So we need to multiply that by 3, and we get 60. You guys are getting good at this. All right, next one. This necklace is a 10% discount. 10%, that's an easy fraction. What fraction is 10%? Okay, so we have 10 over 100, but we could reduce by just knocking one of those off. I hate how that makes a triangle. There we go. So we're really working with 1/10 like that. Okay, so $20. It's the original price. So is that the part or the whole? Yeah, this time that's the whole. So that goes on the bottom. How do we get from 10 to 20? Times 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. So our discount here is only $2. All right, last one. Let's look at that sweater. What is the 20% as a fraction? 20 over 100. Can you reduce? Yes. Take off one of those zeros. So we have now 2 out of 10. Okay. You technically could reduce again if you would like to. That's up to you. How do you get? Divide by 2, which is 1. Divide by 2 there, which is 5. So that makes us work with smaller numbers. Now, taking a look at this, is this the part or the whole? $7 is the part. So 7's going to go on the top, and we're going to hunt for what's on the bottom. How do we get from 1 to 7? Times 7, and 5 times 7 is $35. So our answer there for our sweater is $35. All right, now, did we answer all the questions it asked? Yeah, no. When we go back up here, it says, calculate her total amount that she will pay after her discounts. After her discounts. So we're going to have to do a little bit of work, right? So let me, I'm going to move up my page a little bit so I have a little bit more room. Actually, I think I'll move it over and I'll write off to the side. Okay, so when we take a look at this, we know the shirt was $44, but we saved $11. So I'm going to go ahead and right here, I'm going to write underneath it what I got when I subtracted. Okay, $44 take away 11 is 33. So my shirt, I'm going to pay $33 for it. Then I go to my pants. It was $50. Take away that 15 that I'm going to save, which leaves me 35. Now, if you don't know that, guys, don't guess. Actually write 5, borrow from it, make it a 4, make this a 10, and actually subtract. Don't get it wrong just because you want to look like you know it in your head. Okay, go ahead and show your work. 60 minus that 9, which is 51. Add it to my list. 20 take away 2, which is 18. And 35 minus 7, which is 28. So now I'm going to add all of that up. And when I add all of this up, I'm going to get $165. Make sure I have my dollar sign in front, and that's her total. Pretty easy, right? Yeah, I think you've got this. As we get back to the classroom, today I'm going to have you working on actually just doing the repetition of finding those percentages. So make sure you have paper and pencil, and I'm going to give you the problems on the computer, but I want you to very carefully and organized, I want you to be able to show me your work. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. If this was a blank sheet of paper that you just got out, maybe, there we go. All right, there's my blank sheet. Okay, this is your blank sheet of paper. There's your holes in your sheet. Okay, looks like that. All right, so you're going to write like number 1, and you're actually going to say, well, I have 20% out of 100. And then you're going to say, well, it was 300 here, but I want to know how many that was out of the whole thing. I want this on your paper. I want to see it neatly. Then I want you to skip a line and go to number 2. I do not want you to start doing this and putting boxes all over with answers all over your paper. Okay, if you have to use multiple sheets of paper, then use multiple sheets of paper. But I don't want to try to read it like it's a jungle gym. All right, head back to the classroom and I'll see you.